You ever notice how people get tense when someone powerful enters a room? It's like the air changes, the energy shifts, and suddenly everyone's pretending they weren't waiting for a signal, pretending they don't feel the weight of what's about to happen. But what if I told you it's not just a feeling, that the universe is sending someone your way, someone with influence, with power, with resources, someone who could change everything you've been struggling to achieve, someone who's coming straight for you? Most people would panic, or they'd dismiss it, or they'd hide behind excuses. But the moment someone of this caliber steps onto your path, pretending it's casual isn't an option. People always act like the world is moving at their pace, like opportunity is polite enough to wait while they shuffle through life, distracted, hesitant, afraid. But the truth is, the world doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about your comfort. And sometimes it delivers someone so significant, so powerful, so influential, that everything you've been procrastinating, doubting, or ignoring suddenly has a chance to change. That's what it means when someone wealthy, someone with resources, someone who can alter the course of your life is coming for you. Most people would panic. Most people would dismiss it. Most people would pretend it doesn't matter. But moments like this are precise. They are designed. And they test whether you're awake enough to notice. Think about how people behave when they sense influence in the air. There's tension. There's energy. There's an awareness you can't fake. Some pretend to be calm. Some distract themselves. Some overcompensate. But deep down, everyone knows something is coming, something important, something that could change the game. That awareness, that anticipation, that nervous energy, most people call it anxiety, but it's really recognition. Recognition that the world doesn't always hand out opportunities twice, that timing is rare, and that wealth, power, and influence are not casual visitors. They arrive for a reason. Most people don't realize how unprepared they are until the moment is at the doorstep. They think they've been preparing, thinking, planning, and yet when someone of significance steps into their life, they freeze, they overthink, they hesitate, they wait for the perfect conditions that will never exist. And that's the tragedy of missed opportunity. The wealthy, the powerful, the influential, they're not waiting for you to catch up. They're coming, precise, intentional, and unavoidable. Your preparation doesn't create the moment, it simply determines whether you're ready to step through it or stumble when it appears. There's something intoxicating and terrifying about the presence of wealth. Not the money itself, not the possessions, not the flashy signs, but the energy it carries, the doors it can open, the unseen power it represents. Most people underestimate this because they mistake comfort for readiness and hesitation for wisdom. They fail to recognize that someone like this isn't just a person, they're a force, a catalyst, a reflection of whether you've been awake enough to notice the signals life has been sending you all along. And when that force aligns with your path, the window of opportunity is sharp and unforgiving. The arrival of someone powerful is also a mirror. It shows you how you respond to pressure, to recognition, to possibility. It exposes hesitation, fear, unpreparedness. It forces you to confront every excuse you've been clinging to, every distraction you've hidden behind, every moment you've let pass while pretending you were ready for greatness. Most people won't like what the mirror shows. Most people will recoil. Most people will rationalize and distract themselves. But the ones who notice, who step into the tension instead of running from it, the ones who act decisively, will find the path illuminated before them in ways they could never anticipate. Wealth and influence don't arrive casually. They arrive strategically. They arrive at the precise intersection where readiness meets opportunity, where timing meets attention, where energy meets action. And that's why most people fail. They are blind to the signals that life sends them. They ignore the preparation they should have done. They underestimate how much presence matters. And when the wealthy, the powerful, the influential come for them, they're shocked that nothing changes, that doors remain closed, that moments slip through their fingers like water. But the truth is, the moment was never random. The arrival was never arbitrary. The only variable was you, whether you noticed, whether you were ready, whether you had the courage to act when the opportunity stepped onto your path. Those who recognize the arrival of influence, who feel the tension, who understand the weight and the energy, they do something different. They don't hesitate. They don't rationalize. They don't overthink. They move. They align. They seize. Because they know that moments like this aren't casual. They're precise. They're demanding. They're transformative. They arrive to test attention, readiness, courage, and awareness. And whether you respond or ignore, it defines the difference between remaining stagnant and stepping into a life you've only dared to imagine. A life reshaped by the presence of someone who carries what you've been seeking, whether you knew it or not. People always think they can predict opportunity, that they can recognize influence before it arrives, that they can prepare for someone who carries power and resources as if the world owes them a rehearsal. But that's a lie we tell ourselves to feel safe. The truth is, the arrival of someone wealthy, someone influential, someone capable of altering the trajectory of your life doesn't come with a warning, doesn't send an invitation, doesn't ask for permission. It simply arrives. And most people, when faced with it, flinch. They hesitate. They rationalize. They pretend it isn't happening, or that they're too busy, or that it doesn't matter. Most people underestimate the tension that comes with true opportunity. Influence is heavy. Wealth is heavy. Power carries energy that's tangible. When someone like this steps into your sphere, whether you recognize it or not, you feel it. Your chest tightens, your mind races, your instincts whisper that something is different. But people are so conditioned to ignore intuition, to distract themselves, to question their own perceptions, that they fail to act. They wait for proof, for reassurance, for a perfect scenario that will never exist. They think opportunity should be obvious, when in reality, the best opportunities are disguised as tension, uncertainty, and discomfort. Timing is everything. The wealthy and influential rarely arrive by accident. Their presence is deliberate. They are drawn to alignment, to energy, to those who are capable of noticing the signals life has been sending all along. And the irony is that most people fail to notice until it's too late. They act surprised when doors open, when choices are presented, when the universe offers an alignment they have been craving. But they forget that readiness isn't measured by desire alone. Readiness is measured by awareness, by attention, by courage, by the willingness to step into discomfort and make the moment yours. There's a kind of comedy in watching people react to the presence of power. They pretend they're calm, that they're composed, that they aren't aware. But deep down, everyone senses it. Everyone feels the weight. Everyone knows that someone of significance has entered the arena, and yet most will do nothing. Most will watch, hesitate, distract themselves. Most will convince themselves that timing isn't right, that luck hasn't aligned, that they're not ready. But the moment doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't negotiate. Power doesn't accommodate hesitation. And the wealthy, the influential, the catalysts of change, they don't arrive to entertain uncertainty. They arrive to provoke, to test, to see if you're capable of stepping into the space that's been carved out for you. Ignoring influence is costly. It's not just a missed opportunity, it's a mirror reflecting your own indecision, your own fear, your own inability to act when it matters most. Most people never like the reflection. They scramble to justify inaction. They distract themselves. They rationalize that it wasn't meant for them. But the truth is, the moment was never random. The arrival was never accidental. The universe doesn't hand power and alignment to those who sleep through life. It delivers it to those who notice, who feel the weight, who act decisively, who understand that the presence of wealth is never casual, never neutral, never meaningless. The presence of someone powerful also demands self-examination. It reveals hesitation, fear, and the excuses we cling to. It shows us the distance between our potential and our current reality, and it demands response. Those who recognize the arrival, who feel the tension, who understand the energy, they don't overthink, they don't rationalize. They move. They step into alignment. They engage. They seize the moment because they understand that someone of influence doesn't enter your life to be polite. They enter to provoke, to test, to challenge, to create transformation, and only those prepared to respond rise to meet it. Most people will see someone powerful arrive and act like it's ordinary. They will shrug, pretend it's casual, continue with routine, and miss the opportunity entirely. Those who notice, who feel the energy, who understand the significance, they will act differently. They will respond. They will step into the path that has been deliberately aligned for them. They will recognize that wealth, influence, power, they don't arrive casually. They arrive with intention, precision, and timing, and the measure of your life depends entirely on whether you can notice, whether you are awake enough to respond, and whether you are willing to step fully into the space the universe has opened before you. Opportunity doesn't come knocking politely. It doesn't ring a bell or send a memo. Most people live their lives pretending it does, imagining that wealth, power, influence, or transformation will arrive in a way they can comfortably plan for. But the truth is, it arrives like a storm, sudden and unmistakable, shaking the ground beneath your feet, demanding your attention whether you're ready or not. That's what it means when someone wealthy, someone influential, someone capable of changing everything steps onto your path. Most people freeze. Most people hesitate. Most people rationalize. And that hesitation is the difference between change and stagnation. Think about how people react when they sense potential in the air, when they feel the energy of someone who carries power. There's an immediate shift, tension, awareness, a tightening of the chest, a racing of the mind. Some act calm, some distract themselves, some pretend they don't feel it, but inside, everyone senses it, the shift, the weight, the opportunity, disguised as uncertainty. And yet, most people will ignore it. They will wait for convenience, for clarity, for a perfect moment that doesn't exist. They forget that the universe rarely delivers precision to those who procrastinate, to those who hesitate, to those who fail to notice the signals it has been sending. Timing is ruthless. Power and wealth don't arrive at random. They are deliberate. They are precise. They are aligned with energy, attention, and readiness. That's why most people fail to act when it matters. They are blind to the signs that have been lining up for them for weeks, months, years. They are shocked when doors open, when choices appear, when the world seems to shift in their favor. But the truth is, the moment only measures readiness. It doesn't accommodate hesitation. It doesn't reward indecision. And it certainly doesn't wait for you to feel comfortable. There's something almost comical in how humans treat moments of opportunity. They act as if influence, wealth, and power are casual visitors. They pretend they are ordinary. They overthink. They rationalize. They delay. And the moment passes. But the arrival of someone significant is never ordinary. It is a catalyst. It is a mirror. It is a test. It exposes hesitation, fear, distraction, and the excuses we cling to. And those who notice it, who feel it, who understand its weight, are the ones who rise to meet it. They are the ones who see that influence is not just a presence, it is a force that reshapes trajectories, opens doors, and challenges readiness. Ignoring someone powerful is costly. It isn't just a mischance, it's a reflection of your own limitations. Every hesitation, every excuse, every delay becomes visible. The moment doesn't vanish, it transforms into consequence. Most people act surprised, thinking they were ready, thinking the timing was wrong, thinking luck has abandoned them. But the universe is precise. It delivers opportunity to those who are paying attention. It doesn't deliver it twice. It doesn't accommodate fear. It delivers it with intention, and it tests your awareness, your courage, your ability to step into alignment with what is presented. When someone wealthy or influential enters your life, it demands self-examination. It exposes fear, hesitation, and the invisible barriers you've built. It challenges you to act, to step forward, to seize the alignment that has been created intentionally for you. Most people fail to rise to the occasion. Most people watch, freeze, distract themselves, rationalize away the moment. And that is why influence separates the spectators from the participants. It shows who is awake, who is aware, and who is capable of stepping into the path that life has deliberately arranged. Those who respond understand that wealth, power, and influence are not casual. They are not gifts. They are catalysts. They are precise, intentional, and demanding. And when you recognize the arrival, when you feel the weight, when you understand the energy, hesitation becomes impossible. You act, you move, you align. You step into the window of transformation that most people will sleep through, miss, or ignore. And the difference between those who notice and those who don't isn't luck. It's awareness. It's courage. It's readiness. It's the willingness to meet the force that has been deliberately sent to change everything you thought was permanent, to shift the trajectory of your life in ways that are unmistakable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Most people go through life pretending the universe operates politely, as if opportunity, wealth, and influence will wait until they feel ready. They act as though timing is optional, as though power will arrive in a way they can schedule comfortably. But life doesn't work like that. Timing is ruthless. Influence is precise. Wealth doesn't knock politely. It appears suddenly, deliberately, in the exact space where attention, awareness, and readiness intersect. And when someone capable of changing everything comes for you, it's not casual. It's deliberate. It's unavoidable. Most people freeze. Most people hesitate. Most people pretend it doesn't matter. And that hesitation, that split-second delay, defines everything. Think about how people respond when they sense significance in the air. There's tension, a quickening in the chest, a subtle shift in awareness. Some act calm, some distract themselves, some pretend it isn't happening. But deep down, everyone feels it, the energy, the weight, the presence of someone who can alter outcomes, who carries influence, who embodies opportunity, and yet most will ignore it, thinking they have time, thinking the moment will repeat itself, thinking they can afford hesitation. But precision in timing doesn't bend to comfort. It doesn't wait for preparation. It arrives to test attention, readiness, and courage, and those who are blind to it miss the chance entirely. Most people are terrified of precise opportunity because it demands response. Intuition whispers, signals appear, energy shifts, and yet people distract themselves, rationalize, and delay. They wait for reassurance, for clarity, for conditions that never exist. They forget that opportunity disguised as influence doesn't accommodate fear. It doesn't forgive hesitation. And when it arrives, the measure of your life depends entirely on whether you notice, whether you're aware, whether you act decisively. There's a strange comedy in watching people act surprised when someone powerful enters their path. They shrug, they pretend it's ordinary, they convince themselves that timing is irrelevant. But the moment of arrival never lies. It reflects readiness. It reflects attention. It reflects courage. Wealth and influence carry energy that cannot be ignored. Those who feel it, who recognize it, who understand the tension, are the ones who step into alignment. The ones who hesitate, rationalize, or dismiss it are left behind, wondering later why doors remained closed, why paths didn't open, why moments passed like shadows through their lives. Ignoring someone influential is expensive. It's not just a missed chance. It's a mirror revealing hesitation, fear, procrastination, and the limitations we've tolerated. Most people will act shocked when the consequences arrive, when the opportunity is gone, when the moment they ignored turns into a lesson they didn't want. But the truth is, it was never hidden. The arrival of wealth, influence, power, these are never accidents. They are deliberate. They measure awareness, attention, and courage. Those who ignore it fail themselves, not the universe. When someone capable of transformation arrives, they force confrontation with your own limitations. They expose hesitation, fear, and the excuses that have accumulated over a lifetime. They demand response. Those who notice step forward. Those who hesitate fall behind. And that's the difference. Wealth, influence, power, they're precise. They arrive to provoke action, not comfort. They are a test disguised as opportunity, a mirror held up to your readiness, your awareness, your courage, your willingness to act when the universe presents a moment too precise to ignore. Those who respond understand the stakes. They don't hesitate. They don't rationalize. They act. They align. They recognize that influence is never casual, that wealth is never neutral, that opportunity is never ordinary. They see the tension, they feel the weight, and they move into the window of change that most people will sleep through, distract themselves from, or ignore entirely. And the difference between those who notice and those who don't isn't luck, chance, or timing. It's awareness, it's readiness, it's courage, and it's the ability to meet the force deliberately sent to shape the trajectory of a life that most people pretend isn't waiting for them. Most people spend their lives pretending they understand opportunity, pretending they are ready for influence, pretending that timing will always bend to their convenience. They act as though wealth, power, and transformation will arrive in a way that is polite, easy, obvious. But life isn't polite. Life doesn't negotiate with hesitation. Life doesn't send rehearsals or warnings. And when someone powerful, someone wealthy, someone capable of reshaping your trajectory comes for you, it doesn't arrive quietly. It doesn't wait. It doesn't forgive distraction or delay. Most people freeze. Most people hesitate. Most people pretend it isn't happening. And in that hesitation, they define the boundary between transformation and stagnation. Think about the energy a powerful presence carries. There's a tension you can't fake, a subtle shift in the room, in your mind, in your chest. People feel it even if they don't acknowledge it. Some act calm. Some distract themselves. Some pretend they aren't noticing. But deep down, the recognition is there. The universe rarely hands this kind of moment twice. And yet, people ignore it because they are addicted to comfort, addicted to hesitation, addicted to the illusion of control. They forget that alignment doesn't wait, that timing is precise, that wealth and influence arrive for those who are paying attention, those who are awake, those who are capable of stepping into the energy presented to them. Most people fear precision. They fear opportunity wrapped in tension. They fear energy that demands action. Intuition whispers, signals appear, moments of alignment surface, and still they hesitate. They rationalize. They distract themselves. They wait for clarity, for a perfect scenario, for conditions that never exist. The wealthy, the influential, the catalysts of change, they don't arrive for comfort. They arrive for readiness. They arrive to provoke action, to test courage, to measure awareness. And when they arrive, the measure of your life depends entirely on your ability to respond, to notice, to act decisively in the moment. There's a dark humor in watching people act shocked when someone powerful enters their lives. They shrug. They pretend it's ordinary. They convince themselves it isn't significant. But influence doesn't arrive casually. Wealth doesn't knock politely. Power doesn't pause for hesitation. That presence, that energy, that alignment, it is deliberate. It measures who is awake, who is aware, who is capable of stepping into transformation. And those who fail to recognize it, those who hesitate, those who rationalize away the tension, will wake later wondering why doors remained closed, why paths never opened, why the world moved without them. Ignoring someone of influence is costly, not just a missed opportunity, it's a mirror reflecting hesitation, fear, procrastination, and the self-deception we cling to. Most people will act surprised when the consequences arrive, when the alignment they ignored becomes a lesson they didn't want to learn. But the arrival was never hidden. It was never accidental. Wealth, influence, power, they are deliberate, precise, intentional, and unforgiving in their measurement of readiness. Those who ignore it fail themselves, not the universe. When someone capable of transformation enters your life, it forces confrontation with your own limits. It exposes hesitation, fear, distraction, and excuses. It demands response. Those who notice step forward. Those who hesitate are left behind. That is the distinction. Influence, wealth, opportunity, they are precise. They arrive to provoke action, to test attention, to measure courage. They are not casual. They are not neutral. They are deliberate, demanding, and transformative. Those who respond understand this. They do not hesitate. They do not rationalize. They act. They align. They recognize that wealth, influence, and opportunity are never ordinary. They see the energy, feel the weight, and move into the window of transformation that most people will sleep through, ignore, or distract themselves from. The difference between those who notice and those who don't is not luck, chance, or timing. It is awareness, readiness, courage, and the ability to confront and step into the force deliberately sent to shape the trajectory of a life most people pretend isn't waiting for them. People always think opportunity arrives softly, as if life is polite enough to announce its intentions before it acts. They imagine that wealth, influence, and power will wait for preparation, that timing will bend to their comfort, that the universe negotiates with hesitation. But that's a comforting lie we tell ourselves so we can avoid the tension of readiness. The arrival of someone wealthy, someone powerful, someone capable of changing everything you thought was fixed, doesn't ask politely. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It comes deliberately, sharply, precisely, and most people freeze. Most people hesitate. Most people distract themselves. They act as though nothing significant is happening, when in reality, everything in that moment could shift their trajectory forever. There's a strange electricity in the presence of influence. It's subtle, but it's impossible to ignore. Your chest tightens, your mind races, your instincts whisper that something is different, something is aligned, something is deliberate. Some people will pretend they don't feel it. Some will overcompensate. Some will distract themselves, busying the hands while the universe waits for attention. But energy like this doesn't come often. Influence doesn't arrive casually. Wealth doesn't knock politely. Power doesn't step into your life to be observed idly. It arrives as a test, as a challenge, as a provocation to see whether you can recognize what's unfolding and act accordingly. Timing is everything. The universe doesn't make mistakes, and it doesn't repeat signals for those who fail to notice. Those 3 hours tomorrow, the exact alignment of opportunity and presence, are not casual. They exist for measurement. They measure readiness. They measure attention. They measure courage. And most people fail this measurement without realizing it. They are distracted by comfort, seduced by routine, convinced that hesitation is harmless. They forget that moments like this are not designed for convenience. They are designed to provoke action, to reveal the distance between who you are and who you could become, to separate those who are awake from those who are sleepwalking. People are terrified of opportunity because it exposes hesitation, it exposes fear, it exposes every distraction and rationalization they've used to avoid discomfort. When wealth and influence arrive, it's like a mirror held up to the soul. And most people recoil. Most people look away. Most people pretend it's not happening. They overthink. They rationalize. They delay. And the irony is, the universe doesn't negotiate with hesitation. It doesn't wait for courage. It doesn't repeat precision. Influence arrives to measure awareness, to provoke action, to reward those who notice and respond, and to leave everyone else to wonder why their moment passed while they were busy pretending it didn't exist. Ignoring someone powerful is costly. It isn't just a missed opportunity. It's a reflection of your limitations, your fears, your inability to act when action matters most. Most people will act shocked when consequences arrive, when opportunity slips through their fingers, when timing moves on without them. But the arrival of wealth, power, influence, it was never hidden. It was deliberate. It was precise. It was intentional. And whether you respond or ignore it is the only variable the universe cares about. Readiness and awareness determine the difference between stagnation and transformation, between remaining invisible in life and stepping fully into the force aligned to change everything. Those who recognize influence, who feel its weight, who understand its energy, act differently. They do not hesitate. They do not rationalize. They do not wait for a safer moment that will never exist. They align. They engage. They seize. Because they know that wealth, power, and opportunity are not casual. They are deliberate. They are demanding. They are precise. And they will pass by without notice if you are not awake enough to respond. They are designed to provoke transformation, to test courage, to measure awareness, and to reward those who are ready to step into the alignment life has presented deliberately, sharply, and unmistakably. Most people will sleep through it. Most people will distract themselves. Most people will rationalize away tension, energy, and alignment. But the few who notice, who feel the moment, who act decisively, will find that the arrival of wealth and influence doesn't just open doors, it changes trajectories. It exposes hidden potential. It illuminates the path between who they were and who they are capable of becoming. The universe delivers these forces deliberately, and they do not wait for comfort, certainty, or hesitation. They arrive to provoke, to test, to measure, and to create transformation in those who are awake enough, aware enough, and courageous enough to step fully into the moment.